Nice. So, welcome to our first class of Unreal Engine 5. In this class, and mainly in this first module, we're going to use the 3D Studio Max um, to make some preparations for the files, okay, before sending to Unreal Engine. Maybe you're not used to this 3ds Max, okay, 3D Studio Max. Maybe you're using SketchUp, Maya, or Blender, and there aren't some resources, okay. If you have these resources in the software where you're used to work, you only can adapt the concepts that we're going to show here, okay, and yeah, that's gonna work, okay. For example, we're gonna talk here, for example, the mapping UV, mapping of channel 1. We're gonna use this 3D Studio Max to do the mapping UV. You can do the same thing there in the software that you're using, okay. For example, Blender, Maya, maybe if you use SketchUp, there is not this resource. Maybe if you use Habit, for example, there is no features like this of mapping UV, okay. After in the module 3, for you that use SketchUp, Blender, Maya, I will show you how to do it, how to do the same things here directly on Unreal Engine. For example, adjust the position of the pivot, that we're going to learn how to adjust the pivot and the reason why, the mapping in 1:1:1. We're going to see it here, and we're going to learn how to do it here in 3ds Max. We're going to understand the concept, but I will show you how to do it there on Unreal Engine, okay. In this module, we will use the 3D Studio Max to adjust these things and to configure the file to send to Unreal Engine. But if you don't use 3D Studio Max, don't worry about it, okay? There in the module 3, there will be classes showing you how to do inside Unreal what we do here inside here, okay? So if you're not used to use 3D Studio Max, watch the classes. Try if it's possible to adapt the concepts here in the software that you're used to, okay? If that's not possible, like in the software that you use, if there is no resources like we have here, don't worry about it, because in the module 3 I will show you how to do it inside Unreal, okay. But don't skip this module. Even if you don't use 3ds Max and you don't have it installed on your computer, see these classes here, okay, because they are really important. And if it's possible, apply the concepts on the software that you're used to use, okay. Unit of measurement, mapping UV, pivot of the objects, the materials, standard, the exportation FBX, a lot of things that are really important to work on Unreal Engine, okay. But specifically the pivot, the mapping UV, and mesh inversion, I will show how to do it again there inside Unreal on the module 3, okay. And don't worry, I will always leave the files here for you so that you can download each step. For example, after we finish this module here, inside the 3ds Max, the file FBX will be available for you to do the download, and you can follow the classes together, okay, with us, even if you don't use Studio Max, okay. So let's keep going with our class of preparation for the files, okay. To take to Unreal Engine, okay. And if you don't use 3D Studio Max, don't worry about it, okay? Because in the module 3, I will show you how to do the same things by using Unreal Engine, okay? So let's go. Let's get started our course. Nice, so let's get started. I left these files here so that you can download them and follow me, okay? Right below the video, actually here below the video, there's a link where you can click on it and you can download these files, okay. After you finish downloading them, basically you're going to get into this folder, Piano House. Here we have three folders. The 3ds Max files in the 2018 version, okay, of the full house that we're going to use to work. We have the folder with the references of the project that we're going to use to study, and we have the texture folder, okay, that we're going to use on Max and also on Unreal Engine 5. We have this folder here, references, the photos of the house that we're going to use as a reference to represent during the entire course, and the folder with the textures, okay? The names, they are disorganized, and the files as well, okay? But this is on purpose because we will organize all of them during the course, during the entire course. It's really important that we talk about organization, okay? It's gonna make the work easier, okay? So let's get back here, let's click on it, and let's click right here 2 times in the 2018 version, okay? That is the one that I'm using to record this video. Okay, this message says that some textures of this project were lost. They aren't in the file, and Max couldn't find it. But don't worry about it. We won't use them, so you don't have to consider this. Just click on here. Okay, cool. It says that one or more objects are currently isolated, but it's okay, don't worry about it. Great, now we're inside the 3D Studio Max. As you can see, the house was already modeled. We have the masonry, lining, floors, windows, frames, you know. Let me remove this. You can remove an object just by clicking on the object, right button, hide selection, and that's it. After we will bring it back, okay? It wasn't deleted, it was just hidden. Look at this, right button, unhide all. I can click on it and I can get it back. Okay, so meanwhile, I'm just gonna select this, right button, hide selection, and that's it. We can see other things like furnitures, armchair, couch, and everything. Here we have the coatings, be remodeled. It is not texture, you know, they were modeled. We're gonna talk about it why. Don't worry about it. We're gonna talk about it soon. The furnitures that are not optimized, we will talk about it. Meanwhile, we're just talking about it in general, okay? Nice. Well, so let's get back the lining. Right button, unhide all, okay? Cool. So we got it back. Another really important thing when we talk about projects here, it's about verifying if we are working with the right scale, okay? Centimeters. It's really important that we check that out, okay? That is the unit of measurement that we are working. It has to be the same, okay? Because if you're using 3ds Max or Blender or other software, it doesn't matter. It has to be in centimeters, okay? Otherwise, there's a risk that you can send the file in the wrong scale or size, you know. Inside the 3ds Max, how can we verify the scale that we are working? Well, we go to Customize, Unit Setup, Display Unit Scale here. It's in centimeters. It's correct. This parameter is going to show you the scale that you're using. Okay, you can change between centimeters, millimeters, and everything. Now the unit of measurement is right here. You can click right here on my project. On this house, it is already in centimeters. Probably in your 3ds Max, that can be in inches or some other one. So you need to change it to centimeters. Okay, yeah. So you're changing the unit of measurement to centimeters. One unit is equal to 1 centimeter. You also want to see in centimeters, because it doesn't help if you put the unit of measurement in centimeters and here you see in meters. It doesn't help because you will have to do the math. 1 meter is like 100 centimeters. Okay, well, let's check it out. If you live like this, it's going to be really hard to know exactly the measures of the object. How can we verify the measures? First, you click on the object, go here, utilities, measure, and that's it. Now we can see the dimensions. So we have 4 meters and 12 centimeters for 57 centimeters and 51 centimeters. As you can see, it's in meters. If it was in centimeters, it would be better. So let's change it. So customize, unit setup, unit, it's in centimeters, but I also want to see centimeters. So let's change it, centimeters. Okay, yeah. Now it's way better. It's much easier. So 412 centimeters, 56 centimeters, almost 57, and 51 centimeters. After that, your unit of measurement is going to be the same. So in the software that you're using, it's really important that you check that out. Okay, you have to find where you can adjust or change the unit of measurement. Okay, in this case, 3ds Max, customize, unit setup, system unit setup, where I'm going to say which is the unit of measurement that I'm going to use, and which unit of measurement I'm going to see. Okay, great. Now you can verify this, for example, pressing the button D so that we can see the grid and we can create, for example, a box. Click here. I can click on it and drag whatever the direction, and it's gonna show me the dimensions. Okay, so we have these dimensions here. Let's type 100, 100, and 100. Okay, let's go 100 and 100 centimeters. That way I have a box like 1 for 1 for 1, 100 centimeters for 100 centimeters for 100 centimeters. Let's press G again so that we can show the grid. Let's drag the box into here. Let's hide this so that it's gonna be more clear. So like this. Let's take our box and put like this. The space of the grid is like 1 meter for 1 meter, and our box is the same, 1 meter for 1 meter. I click here, the top view, I select the point of view that I want, and I maximize this like this. Look, our box is like this. Let's press G again. Look, our box is exactly 1 for 1 for 1. 1 for 1. Yeah, maybe in your 3D Studio Max, uh, it can be 10 centimeters instead of 1 meter. You know, there are a lot of risks. So how can we change it? Well, you're going to click on here with the right button, home grid. In my case, it says that the space is like 100 centimeters. So it's 1 meter. I can change it. For example, 10 centimeters. That is probably the way that is in your computer. So it has changed. Each space is like 10 centimeters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 times 10, 100. That is like 1 meter. I can change like 20 centimeters, 32 centimeters, or 100 centimeters. That I think is the best option, because if you have this reference, this point of view of the grids, it's much easier. It's easier. It's better to find out the measurement, the approximate measurement. Let's see. I want to see the measurement of this couch. If my grid is like 1 for 1, so I know this couch is for like 1 meter, 2 meters, 2 meters and a half, 2 meters and 60 or 70 for 1 meter in 10 centimeters. Okay, so with the grid 1 for 1, it's easier to verify the measurements of your project. It's a good point of reference, to check that out in a faster way, the measurements. Nice. Let's get here. Right button, unhide all. Okay, I want to see again. Okay, I'm gonna finish this video here, where we talked about the unit of measurement, and we talked about this file inside the 3ds Max. I'm gonna close this class and we can get it back on the next class, okay? Yet inside the 3ds Max. Nice. So in the last class, we talked about this file here, basically how to show and hide things. And we also talked about a really important thing, that is the unit of measurement. If you didn't see the last class, get back there, because it's really important to work inside the 3ds Max on the right scale, okay? That is in centimeters. The same as Unreal, that is in centimeters as well, okay? Cool. Another important thing is that to prepare this file to send to Unreal, it's really important to keep it organized, okay? We'll see in Unreal classes that Unreal is basically a Windows. You can segment by folders, subfolders, rename. There are the correct names that you can give to the objects. We will see it soon, don't worry about it. But it's really important always to work in an organized way, because it's really easy to get lost inside Unreal. Everything is very similar. There are a lot of objects, a lot of files. We access a lot of things at the same time. So let's try to work in an organized way. Another important thing of working in an organized way is to export the files to Unreal in a segmented form, which means that I'm not going to send the whole file just in one time, because this way the chances of crashing Unreal are gonna be high. So it's good that we send in a segmented form, okay? To do it, we can use here inside the 3ds Max to separate the files in layers. It's gonna be easier to send the files. We can organize ourselves in a better way, and the chances of Unreal crashing are gonna be lower because we are going to organize in a smaller size the files. So let's do it. Let's separate the files in layers. To do it, I'm gonna click right here, Layer Explorer. Oh, it has opened on the other screen. I'm gonna drag it right here. Let me close it. Let me open it again. So I left here disorganized on a purpose way. We're going to organize all of them together, okay? So here we have, if you're not a Brazilian person, you're not going to understand this. For example, parede means wall, and we have some other names here, but don't worry about it, okay? Let's change these names here, and let's segment all the files, okay? So working with layers inside the 3ds Max, it's gonna be very similar in this Photoshop or some other softwares. When the eye is opened, I'm seeing this layer. When it's closed, I'm not seeing, okay? Inside this layer. So look at this. The things, they aren't in the correct place. So the walls, it didn't erase all the walls. The slabs, the same things, frames ripped. There is nothing here. So let's organize all of it. Okay, it's really interesting to work in an organized way. So let's get started. First thing, we can put everything inside the default. We can erase all of the incorrect layers. Let's get started. Let's do it. Let's select all the project, clicking and dragging. Right? Look at this. This layer here, it's in blue. So I click on it. I can click both of them. That means that the layer that I'm selecting, that is selected, if I do something here, or if I create something here, or anything here, this object will create inside this layer, okay? So this layer here is going to select where I'm going to copy things. So let's select this default, let's click on it, and after let's click right here, because this button is going to add to the active layer, okay? Look at this. If I click here, this layer is active. So I click right here, and that's gonna add the objects to this layer. If I click here and click here, that's going to add the objects into this layer, okay? Yeah. Look, I'm gonna close it. I'm gonna show it that the things aren't in the other layer anymore, okay? Right button, unhide all. Look at this, there is nothing to show. So I just erased the layer, okay? Perfect. All the objects are inside here. Ctrl plus Z. Let's do it again. Okay, we got it back. Ctrl plus Z, okay. Look, I had these objects basically in all the layers. So you can see, I can click on it, the lining and everything. Okay, so I'm gonna select everything, and I'm gonna put it right here inside the default. Okay, I select it, and I click right here, this button that is going to add to the active layer. Okay, great. The objects aren't in the other layers anymore. I just don't know why we still have these little arrows here, but we're gonna check that out soon. Okay, so now that we don't have anything on these layers, I'm gonna erase the main layer. Okay, look at this. Let's delete it. I'm gonna teach you how to do it. Right button, delete. Right button, delete. Right button, delete. You can select more than one. Delete. Okay, I can only delete if I don't have anything inside the layer. Okay, when I have this little arrow, I have something. So let's delete the other. Delete. Right button, delete. Great. Let's see what else we have. These three layers that we have that weren't deleted because we still have the little arrow here. Let me see what we have here. Lighting and lights. We don't have this object, so it's a false object. We don't have this, so we can delete it. Now we don't have the little arrow, so delete it. Let me see this. Ripped. We don't have the object, so let's delete it. Right button and delete it. Right button, delete it. And the furniture. Well, we don't have this, so let's select both and let's delete it. Okay. Control plus the other one we selected. Let's select both and delete it. Okay. Right button, delete it. Cool. Now I just have this layer default. Great. That's what we need. Let's get started to organize all the layers. Perfect. Great. Let's get started here with the textures that I used as references to model the project. I'm going to select more than one. Right button, isolate selection. Okay. When I click here, I only see the selections. Okay. I just see what I selected. Right button, unhide all, and I can do it again. Okay. Let's select the textures here that I used to create this project. Then we can create a layer for them. Let's do it right now. Select this, and this. We can click here. Let's create new layer. Now I'm not gonna add, I'm gonna create. So let's click here. Yeah, we just created a new layer. Let's call it project. Okay. Yeah, perfect. Look at this. So I can erase the project, so we just erased it. Let's see it like this. We have another layer here. Let me verify this. Right button, isolate selection, so that I can only see the object that I selected. Okay. It's part of the project that I used to model. So let's add this layer here. Do you remember that? Click here so that I can activate the layer. Okay. I select the object. Let me make it smaller. And I want to add to the active layer. If that makes sense, it's gonna disappear because the layer is erased. Okay. So look at this. It has gone. So let me see. Great, perfect. So now I have the layer, the project. Okay, let's close it. Right button, unhide all, or right button and isolate. Okay, that makes the same thing. Let's keep going, organizing the file. Now let's select the ceiling right here, this one. With the control, I'm going to select the one below, both of them. I'm also going to select this one, this green element. We're using this to simulate the gutter of our house. All of this was ceiling. Okay, I think everything here I can consider ceiling. Plus this element here, control, I can select this as well. Cool. Let's create a layer for this. Click right here, create a layer, and I'm gonna call it ceiling. Okay, let's write this ceiling. Great. Let's erase this. Now I can see or not the ceiling. Perfect. Let's keep going. Another element that we can create is the floor. We can select this little sidewalk, indoor floor, outdoor floor, the outdoor area that we're going to put grass on Unreal. You don't have to worry about it now. We have this slided element that looks like an edge. Let's select the swimming pool, the water of the swimming pool, the area underneath the swimming pool. Let's see, everything's there. Let's remove this. Look, I think of floors, I think it's okay. Let's create a layer for this. Create a new layer. Oops, look at this. It has created inside ceiling because ceiling was selected. Click here, Control plus D, select default. The objects were selected. Look at this, layer. Floor, yeah. Great. Let's erase this layer. Cool. We are organizing the file. Other objects that we can save are the masonries on the wall. This one, I think we can take this. We can try to take this little woods. We can consider them as walls. Look at this. Let's move it to see what we took. You can see, yeah, great. Let's create a new layer. It's inside floor because it was selected. Let's click right here and Control plus Z, default, create a new layer like this. Rename, wall. Yeah, let's call it wall. Okay, great. Almost done. We missed this wall here. How can we put it here? Let's see if it's active. Select the object. Let's see, verify if it's active and add to the active layer like this. This one as well. What else? Now we can take the frames. Let's select them right here, or you can try to press Control plus key, but as it was created in a different form, I cannot select everything. So let's select this in an individual form like this. Let's click right here and drag it, okay? That I can take more than one object. Same thing here, you see, here, here, and I think this one is as well. This is the glass of the bathroom stall. This is from the living room. These two, yeah, I have more. Look at this. We have more this one. I think there are just a few more. Let me see. We have this. Press Control plus Z so that you won't get out of your position. Here, let me see. I think that's it. Oops, there's this one and this one. We can name it frame. Let's create a layer. Let's select this, default, create a new layer. Again, frame. Yeah. Great. I can erase this. Now we're cleaning the file. Next objects are the furnitures. I think it's okay to take this, that, the wardrobes, this one as well. Let me see. I think this is a door. Let me see. We can verify this after. Let's just leave it here. I think this is a furniture. This is a wall. Let me see. We have this one left. Oops. Right here. Let's move it. We have these parts here missing. This one, this one, that one. I think that's it. Let's create a new layer. Oops, inside frame, default, create, and let's call it furniture. Okay, furnitures. Yeah, perfect. And now let's add the other ones, the other furnitures. Active layer, little chairs. Look at this. Let's verify if it was selected. The frames, the layer, furnitures. Oops, but I deselected this, so let's select it. Selected. Furnitures here and take it to there. The little chairs. The piano bench. Yep. Great. The sink. Oops. I think it's better if we attach these two elements. Okay. Let's click right button here and here. Okay. So we're going to work with polygons. I'm not gonna talk in details because this course is not about modeling, but I'm going to explain how we can attach. And inside the 3D Max, it's called a text. Okay. So I want to attach this baseboard here. So it's gonna ask if I want to add the ID. ID is a name that we have inside the 3ds Max of the materials. It's a type of identification. Okay. Let's suppose inside an object like this, I have a lot of different IDs. Right? We will talk more about it in the material class, but let's talk a little bit about it here. The IDs, it's a way to identify each material that I have inside a modeling. Okay, if I have more than one material applied to the same model, I will have multiple materials, and I can identify these materials with a number. This number is the ID, identification number. So the software is asking if, while attaching the baseboard to the sink, if I want to keep the ID number, and if I want to assign the ID to the material. Yes, we want. Okay. Cool. Now everything is only one object. Look at this. So it's a furniture. Go to the layer, furnitures. This one as well, I can consider as a furniture, like this. It's basically the cabinet of the kitchen. This one is a furniture. No, it's just a decoration. Okay. We already created a layer for it. It's a furniture. Let me see. This one as well. We have this little shower, little faucet. Well, actually we have two, but we can delete one here. Let's delete this. Let's delete this as well. But it's beautiful, right? Let me see. I don't know which one we can keep, but let's delete this and let's keep this too. Yeah, let's keep this too, and let's send it to the furniture. This sinks also to the furniture. Let's attach this to this. Oops, no, that actually is just a residue from another material, another project. I think this was used as a reference to model. Cool. This one can be a furniture. This one as well. Let's see. This one, it's a decoration, a little table. Okay. This one is a decoration. This one as well. A little food of the table. Cool. Meanwhile, it's okay. Some door of wardrobes. This one, we have to get it back to the scene so that we can see what it is. These two are walls. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, look at this. It's a wall, but it's not on the wall of layer of wall. Okay, So let's set it there. I'm sure this one is a wall as well. Let's set it to there. More frames. Let's send to frames, I think, or maybe doors, but we can consider as frames. Yeah. This is a little wood we can put in wall. That is also a part of it. Oops, I think I sent the little doors to the wrong place. I was supposed to send it to the frame, but I sent it to the wall. Now let's see this frame. Okay, let me turn off the default. There's something lost here. No. Let's just close the wall. This is the decoration. Let's create a decoration. Let's go. Let's create here default. Let's call it. Let me save it. Decoration. Yeah. We have this element. Okay. We have this. It is here like. Let's send it into the frame. Yeah, because I think they were in frame. Deco is empty. So let's put the objects inside decoration. Carpet, this little table, lamp, the faucets. Let me see, this little foot here. This sink faucet. This light fixture we can leave with the lamps. I think these are the decoration elements. The layer deco. Let's activate and send it. Close it. Let's see if it went. Yeah, cool. Let's see the objects about illumination. Let's see. Select them. Select as well. That's it. For you that don't know what is a grouped element, it means that I have a lot of different things, objects, and I click on one and it's going to select all of them because they are grouped, you know. And if I see the name, it's a group 66. Okay, when it is in bold, it identifies that this object is grouped, you know. I can keep this way grouped, or I can go here, click here, and ungroup this object. Okay, look at this. So now it's individual. Okay, group, ungroup, and now it's individual. Okay, each one, I can select each one. Let me see if there is more group. No, it's okay. But why do you use the grouping tool? Well, so that we can work in a more organized way. If you pay attention, the light fixtures were grouped, segmented. So now we have the living room light fixtures, office light fixtures, room light fixtures, and here suite light fixtures. So let's group them. It's gonna be easier to work. Okay, so let's do it. Group and group. We can call it like spots. Yeah. Spots bedroom. Yeah. Cool. We are organized here. Let's create a layer for this. Let's call it lamp. Great. Let's put the others inside this layer. Okay. Let's see. Lamp. Let's add this. So it's okay. We just add it. Great. We have this other two. Let's add this. This other one on the sink. It's also a light fixture. We will talk about these materials. Don't worry about it now, okay? Great. These three here, they are light fixtures as well. These three. This one is a shower. Let's enter the lamp. And this one, let's enter decoration, the shower. Okay, so let's see what else we have. We have these three. These three squares, like rectangles. These are doors. For example, of the closet. Of one of the closets. So let's send it to the frame. I think that makes sense. Yeah, great. Cool. Great. Our file now is clean. Yeah, I basically just have the cameras, the physical cameras inside the default. Okay, I just have these. But you're probably wondering, I have the cameras, I click on it, I select them, but I cannot see them. Why can't I see them? Well, because I set in the software max that I don't want to see the cameras. So how can I say that I want? So I click here, display, and I want to hide by category. I want to hide, for example, lights or cameras and cameras. Yeah, look at this. You can see this. So I have the cameras here, and I can choose display, and I can show what I want to show just by clicking on it, the objects. Okay, so I want to hide the cameras, so I just click on it. Okay, if I want to hide the shapes, I just click on it. Lights, cameras. Okay, so I can choose. I can, for example, delete the cameras. We won't use it. Okay, let's create the cameras on Unreal. That way, my default is with anything. Okay, all the objects that were here now, they are separated in the other stuff. In the other, for example, walls, just walls. Okay, project, lamp. Look, furnitures, frame, floor, decoration, look at this, and ceiling. Interesting, right? Cool. Perfect. Some elements that are missing, for example, some holes, don't worry about it. We will add them on Unreal. Okay, there are a lot of things that we're going to make inside Unreal. Okay, I'm gonna finish this class where we learned how to create and organize the layers. That way, it's going to be easier and organized to send to Unreal. Okay, the files to Unreal. I'm gonna finish this class. Okay, see you in the next class. Let's talk a little bit about optimization and polygon count. The Unreal Engine was made to create games. It's a tool that is used to create games and to navigate in a real time. Based on that, one of the most important things of working in real time is to work with optimized elements with just a few amount of polygons. As inside the Unreal Engine everything happens in a real time, it's necessary that the elements have the lowest polygon count possible. That way the GPU is gonna be more free, which means that the graphic card that is the hardware, the main hardware, that is going to be more free. When we talk about Unreal Engine 5, we have some technologies to optimize the polygon count. When we talk about Unreal Engine 4, we have some limitations. For example, one of the best ways to optimize the geometry of the Unreal Engine 4 is the acronym LOD, Level of Detail. Is a technology that will decrease the polygon count when we talk about the Unreal Engine 4 based on how far you are from the object. And the closer to the object you are, the higher the polygon count. The more distant you are from the object, the less amount of polygons will be shown to you, okay? This is an excellent tool for optimizing geometry. We also have the acronym LOD on Unreal Engine 5. But in addition to these acronyms, when we get to the optimization module, there is also Midnight. That is a new technology that came specifically with the launch of Unreal Engine 5. This is a technology that subdivides your object's geometry into clusters. Unlike LOD, this one allows you to use infinite polygon counts for your object. Obviously, there are some limitations, but we will talk about that in the class of Unreal Engine 5, okay? About optimization and everything. Don't worry about it, we'll talk about it. But here in Max, it is already important that we think about how the objects will be optimized in Unreal Engine 5, okay? How do I want to present my project? Like a video, browsing in real time. If I want to present it as a video, I can, for example, render this project. Rendering this video is obviously different from another offline renderer. Rendering inside Unreal is much faster. When I think about rendering of the video, I can abuse the polygon count a little more because I won't be browsing in real time. Now, if the project is to browse in real time, it's necessary to optimize the geometries well and use the Midnight feature and also use the LOD feature that is available in Unreal Engine 4 and Unreal Engine 5. What do I have to keep in mind when I'm talking about games Unreal? Optimization and organization. Let's see, for example, how many millions of polygons our whole project has in the scene. How can I do it? In my case here, you just select everything because I already enabled the stats in the scene. If your Max doesn't have the stats enabled, you can enable them by clicking here and right here, statics, you're going to select this and activate this as well, okay? Great. Click right here and after click right here. Cool. And let's go. Once this is done, it will show you the statistics. So if I, for example, click here on the street, I have 2 polygons and 6 vertices. If I click on the ceiling, I have 63 polygons and 122 vertices. If I click, for example, on the couch, I have over 200,000 polygons. If I click, for example, on the armchair, I have like almost 630,000 polygons. Basically, it's a lot of polygons to use inside Unreal. So I always have to think about optimization, optimize my scene. For example, we really need, for example, currently in 2022, which is the year that this video is being recorded, arc model blocks, max tree blocks, speed tree blocks, and the blocks were not meant to run in real time. They were meant to be rendered in offline renders like Corona varied. So these blocks did not start from the premise of optimization, but from realism and a high level of detail. And here, between the great things of working in real time, actually it's a great challenge. You actually need to reach equilibrium between optimization, which is a low polygon count, and an object as detailed as possible. And this is a big challenge. I can tell you to give you a north. For example, in the project that you're doing, objects that are closer to the observer, you can invest in more polygon count, with more details. Objects that will stay in the background, for example, vegetation, a distant forest, a room that will not be explored much, an object that is about 3 meters high or higher than the observer. This object may have a lower polygon count. This will help a lot inside Unreal, mainly when we talk about LOD, which is another technology different from Manage. Unlike Manage, because with Manage in Unreal Engine 5, we can basically use infinite polygon counts. But you can say me, but hey Dennis, so I can convert and use all objects as Manage. So I don't need to use them as LOD, for example, for optimization. And the answer is yes and no. Yes, if all objects are not going to have, for example, mesh deformity, okay? Today in 2022, Unreal Engine 5 with Manite technology doesn't support Manite on objects that have mesh deformity. What is a mesh deformity? It's an animation, for example. Let's take this bathtub here, and let's think that this bathtub I'm doing in an animated way, and I'm going to add a modifier, which is the noise modifier. Let's change the geometry here to 10 centimeters. Let's see. Look, you can see the mesh being deformed, right? And this deformation is done in geometry. When we use the Manite technology, it is not possible to apply Manite to objects that are deformed, okay? For example, if you have a real-time character that is walking in your project, that character cannot use Manite for optimization because our movement, like movement, cause deformations in the geometry, and Manite does not support these deformations of the geometry. So in this case, you would use LOD because LOD will support the deformation. So let's think for this project here. We won't have any deformity in the geometry, okay? The bathtub will not be animated and there will be no deformity. Cool? If your object, for example, are going to be animated and is going to movement like this, and it doesn't have any deformity, there is no problem, okay? Manite will work, okay? The Lumen, which is the lighting system we use on Unreal, we'll talk about it later, don't worry about it. If your object has deformity, it won't be compatible with Manite, okay? Then you will have to use LOD, okay? That's for we're gonna talk about it. Let's get back to the polygon count. Look at this. Starting from the idea that for this project, I won't have mesh deformity animation, so I'm basically going to use Manite for almost everything. But don't worry about it, because I'll teach you how to use LOD on Unreal, okay? Meanwhile, let's just worry about Manite. So look at this. As Manite allows us in Unreal Engine 5 to use basically unlimited amount of polygons. Check it out. We can, for example, bevel the edges of these little pieces of wood here. In Unreal Engine 4, this was almost unthinkable because there are a lot of polygons. But since I'm thinking of turning this object into Menite, I can overdo the polygon count. So you ask me, okay, Dennis, do I have a limit, for example, to stop counting polygons in my object? Basically, no, but it's interesting that you don't spend more than 1 million, because depending on your GPU, your graphic card, it's not cool for you to abuse the polygon count too much, okay? Go between 5,000, 500,000 and maximum 1 million, okay? Because it may be that when importing this file to Unreal, when it saves or compiles the elements in its scene, it may close, because it may be that there are too many polygons for the GPU to process. But once that file went to Unreal and it's usable there, you can replicate it infinite times. So, for example, you can have a bed that has 500,000 polygons. You can take it to Unreal and replicate 1 million times, okay? This amount of model duplication will have no impact on the frame rate per second. Frames per second is the name we give to how many frames your GPU can render each second, okay? Just, for example, like a game, that is the FPS, okay? There are several names, a lot of confusing things if you're seeing Unreal for the first time, but don't worry, okay? Because as the course goes by, you will get familiarized, okay? Involving, navigating, and using the tool. Things will be much simpler than you think, okay? So don't worry, because things will be pretty easy for you, okay? So let's think for your project to adapt this idea to your project. Okay, will I have in my animation geometries that will deform? Will I have an animation inside this geometry? Will it move, distort? Will there be a deformity in the mesh? If the answer is yes, it's better to use LOD, okay? If the answer is no, if I go to browse the projects, furniture will be animated just by positioning and I won't have mesh deformity. Okay, I can use Menite. Cool. So if we are going to use Menite, I can have more polygons in my object. I can go from 0 to 1 million, okay? Depending on your GPU for object. It's not the whole scene, it's just for the object. So for example, the armchair over there has like 600,000, okay? That's a high amount, but it's a super detailed model. Look at this. We can see that the armchair here has a lot of bond, a lot of lines, many polygons, okay? So I can have this object that has 600, the chair that has 30, sofa 200, this one 16, the bathroom 200, so the other 280, this one 350,000, okay? As I won't have geometry animation, it is just object positioning, which is just the object moving, so I can use Menite. So I can start from the idea that I can go from 0 to a maximum of 1 million polygons per object, okay? Otherwise, I will use LOD. This class is a little bit more informative, okay, about optimization, but don't worry about it. We'll see how to do optimization in practice. I see you in the next class, okay? See you. Let's now talk a little bit about the materials as we talk today in 2022 about ArcGIS. Most of the projects are made using Corona type materials, V-Ray, F-Store, but the Unreal Engine has its own material format. So we need to prepare these materials to take to the Unreal Engine, basically converting all of them to standard. By default, the Unreal Engine doesn't understand the materials of, for example, V-Ray, Corona, F-Storm. It doesn't understand these type of materials. It does understand the materials of standard. Okay, so you ask me, gosh, Dennis, I have all my project done in Corona or Subway. Will I have to transform each material into standard? The answer is yes and no. Yes, if you want the best, lighter, optimized result, a project that you can change materials, and no, if you want a faster project that doesn't have as many things, but with a very big burden of maybe not getting the same result as you would get with the Corona inside Unreal, okay? Because the way to make the materials in Corona and in Unreal are different. There are even plugins that make this synchronization. For example, it takes your file from Max and sends it straight to Unreal. And within this conversion process, it transforms Corona materials into standard. But it has a very big burden on this, okay? Because it adds a lot of loads to these materials. And this is inefficient. This is bad and makes it very difficult for you to get the realistic results within the Unreal. For now, it seems like a very complicated job. You redo the materials that are really realistic and refined in Corona and have to redo them inside the Unreal Engine. It seems like unnecessary work. At first glance, yes. Gosh, I'll have to make all the materials. But as time goes on, you will create your library of materials, okay? And since in Unreal Engine, everything is done in a real time, you simply take this material and drag it to the object, and that's it. It's already realistic and interactive, and most importantly, optimized and created in the right way. I'll try to teach you in the course the correct way to do things within Unreal, the correct and most efficient way that gives you the least amount of work possible, and oddly enough, the correct way that gives you the least amount of work possible is by transforming your program materials into standard. For example, if you know that you're going to create an animation in your next project in Unreal, then you don't need to create Corona type materials. Leave it to create the materials inside Unreal. We might think that 3ds Studio Max is a modeling program and Corona is a rendering plugin. So basically, we have 4 work steps inside 3ds Max, where the first step is modeling that you do with the 3ds Max, and the other 3 steps you don't do inside the 3ds Max, but you do it in Corona. We can think that it is another program. You create materials, you light and render in Corona. You don't do it in Max. You don't do it in the scanline. You do it in Corona materials or V-Ray materials. So if you think of the 4 steps, one is the Max, we can think that using the Unreal Engine, we will have 4 steps as well. But instead of Corona, we will use the Unreal Engine. So we will model in Max, which is one of the steps. We'll create the material in the Unreal Engine, we will light in the Unreal Engine, and in quotes, we will render in the Unreal Engine, okay? As time passes and you create your projects, your library will increase, okay? The effort is going to be lower, and you will just send it to Max and take it to Unreal and finish it there. The process is going to be faster, easier, and as optimized as your projects are today using Corona, okay? Obviously, as a new information, it's difficult at first. Adaptation is complicated, we cannot associate very well, find logic in things, but don't worry about it, don't worry. As you do it slowly, you will get better, your skill will increase, and your work will be much faster, okay? Just by modeling on Max and doing everything else on Unreal Engine, okay? So look at this, let's think. I will show you how we convert the materials and transform them and adjust them in our project to work with standard type materials, which is the material that the Unreal Engine understands, okay? Cool, let's talk about this first. Then I'll show you here the plugin that does this conversion automatically. But it's a little dangerous to use this plugin because it loses a lot of textures and a lot of maps. And there are other ways to take the project from Corona to Unreal Engine. We call it Datasmith. But I'm not going to talk about it yet, so you can learn the hard way in the right way, okay? So let's go. Look at this. We have our project here that is already mostly with the standard materials. I've already taken the liberty of preparing the file for you, but I left some here in Corona Render for us to do the process together. So let's go. I'm going to press the M key on my keyboard that will open the materials, and I'm going to get, for example, the ceiling material. Obviously, the name here is any name, but we can change it, and it's ideal for example, white wall. Let's write this. Great. So if you notice, it's a standard type material, okay? I imagine it's been a long time you haven't used this standard type material. Maybe you use Corona overlay type material, where basically we're going to change the color here inside the Unreal Engine, and for some materials we're just going to add the diffuse, which is just to mark the texture, to help us map the channel, map this texture. Okay, look, so the wall is a material of the standard type, where it's diffusing is white. We can put red, let's see, blue, it's okay. So let's leave it blank, all right? So this wall is already good. Right button, hide selection. Same thing, let's see what material is here on the wall. Let's select the material, standard 2, white wall. The same material that I applied to that wall, I applied to this one. This is smart because when I change the material, it will actually change from all the other materials that use the same material. And right button, hide selection. Let's select, for example, the material from the wood. Yeah, great. Standard type material. Let's call it wood. Diffuse here is white, but the diffuse is inactive because we have a map here. Click here, maps, diffuse color. Look, we have a JPEG, which is this wood texture, okay? So it's a little wood texture. Great. Material also of the standard type. Let's hide the selection here. All these wooden ones have already been applied to the standard type material. Yeah, cool. Look at this. This one, there is no material. See, we can apply the material of the wall, which is the material here, white wall. Wait, I'll talk about it soon. Let's get the material that doesn't have multiple materials. This one has it. Let me see this wall here. This wall has it. Let me see this wall here. There's also, let me see the floor. White wall. Okay. The same material was applied from the wall to the floor. Okay, no problem. So let's take this material that is the white material and apply it here on this wall. Great. Now it's a wall that has a white material of the standard type. We can hide that one wood there. We have already seen that it is standard, so we can hide it. The most important thing is that you transform all the materials in your scene to standard. Okay? Let's look here. Wood, standard. This one. Wood. Standard 2. It's there. It's the same material, same wall. Cool. Let's see the floor. Let's check the floor. Look how many materials we applied, how many objects we applied the same material. Basically, only 2 materials so far. I will reset this here, click here, and reset the material editor. Basically, we have 2 materials. The wood there and the white wall. This one here, we have 2 materials. We're gonna talk about that. Don't worry. We're going to select another material here. Can we talk about this green one? Let's see if there's any material applied. No, it doesn't. It pulled the material from the frame. So let's select this green one. As we know, it's the gutter of the house. Let's create a material for it. Let's see. Let's call it a gutter. Okay. Can we paint it gray? Yeah. For it to be different from the white color so we don't get confused. Okay, let's paint it gray. Let's see. Gray. Okay, cool. If, for example, you have your V-Ray renderer to transform it into standard, for example, I'm going to select the piano that is of the Corona type. So if you have a Corona or a V-Ray type renderer, how do you transform the Corona or V-Ray type material into standard material? In this case here, it is a mode submaterial. There are several materials inside one. Let's do something interesting. Let's click on material. Here you will change from Corona material to standard. Okay, great. It turns into the standard material. You can see that it changed the color here. Okay. Now it's gray, but you have to be careful because maybe when you change the material, it loses some texture that it shouldn't, but we'll talk about it together. Okay, don't worry about it. Great. So we transformed the material of the standard type. Let's see what else we have here of the material of the standard type, material of the Corona type, and how we can transform this. Let's take that armchair because I think it is a good object for us to learn how to transform the materials. Armchair, here, we're going to suck the material from it. Let's see what material is applied. Look, this is a V-Ray type material, you see? So this scene is completely wrong. We have materials here of type V and materials of type Corona, which are 2 different renderers in here. It's to show you that either you use Corona or you use V-Ray. So if you're going to use V-Ray, you're going to transform this material into standard. But let's pay attention to this here. Look, we have some maps here applied to this material. Let's see what we have inside diffuse. I click here. In diffuse, we have a composite of materials. Okay, let's go back here. Let's see what we have inside reflect. We only have one texture here. Let's see what this texture is like. It's a leather. Let's see what we have inside glossiness. The leather is a little darker. We probably have something inside bump. That's it. And we have it in black and white scale. I think it spoiled the texture here for some reason. The leather as well. That is to give the relief. So we have a lot of maps inside this material. If we simply make it standard, we will lose the materials, the textures applied. We will lose the maps. So you have two options. Lose the maps and then look for them, or copy the map and apply it here. For when it goes to Unreal, it already comes with this map applied. Let's do it together. We're going to select the leather material here, and we will, for example, this one, as it has a composite. There are several materials inside, and Unreal doesn't understand this type of materials, like Fresnel, Mix, composite. It doesn't understand these materials. And the native maps. On Max, this only understands the standard material and textures like diffuse, bump, roughness, okay? So we need to take it to Unreal with as little texture as possible. Basically just the diffuse texture and at most the normal texture. Because the roughness here inside the 3ds Max is different from the roughness of Unreal. The specular here inside 3ds Max is different from the Unreal specular. Sometimes it's the same slot, but the way to create material is different. Let's do it this way. Let's get one or two textures at most just to mark the color of this object. And the main texture, we will develop the material there in Unreal. Let's do it. Let's just take, for example, the texture of the reflection, which is to mark. Look, I'm going to copy it. We copied it. And now I'm going to transform from V-Ray to standard. Look, we lost the texture. We lost everything, but I copied the texture. I'm going to paste it here. I pasted it in diffuse. Now I can replace it with black leather, which is the leather that was there. This one. Let's see the texture. Cool, it's here. You're seeing the texture, it's here. However, now there's a standard material where the diffuse is just a little texture. And on the map, the bump, we don't need to apply it here because we'll apply it inside Unreal, okay? Roughness, glossiness, specular, we don't need to apply it here because we'll apply it in Unreal. Let's basically just leave the color diffused to mark the color of the object. Cool. Let's see now the wood material. In the wood material, we have a composition of 3 materials. Look, we probably have a material for this one, for this one, for this one. Okay, let's see what they are. V-Ray type materials. Let's see what we have inside diffuse. We have this texture here. It's a very horizontal texture. Let's copy it. Let's see what we have inside the roughness, glossiness, okay. And in the bump, for example, probably the same texture. So let's transform this material here into standard and apply the wood color to the diffuse. Great. We're back to wood here. It's already been mapped. Now let's go back to the other material. Oh, it is just a color. You see, we can copy the color, click on V-Ray and turn it into standard. It turned gray. Let's paste it here. We're back to color. Perfect. We're basically keeping the main characteristic of the material. There at Unreal, we'll refine it, create variations, glossiness, and all that, okay? And this one is probably this line here. Let's go in, probably this color. Let's copy and transform it into a standard and paste it here. We've just pasted, excellent. Click and drag it, cool. All the materials are the standard type. So these three here in the wood, they are soft. The leather also soft. It is in standard. Let's type here leather. Okay. Let's this one. So here is the same material. Let's see the armchair leg. Let's see it here. It's a polygon plastic. Let's see if there's any texture applied here. It's a V-Ray specific load. Let's see if we have something glossiness or another V-Ray specific load. That's all. It's probably just a black plastic here. Let's change the color. That's right. It's black plastic. So let's turn it into standard. Great. Then all the black plastic, now it's white. Okay. Let's call it plastic black. Okay. Let's paint it black here. A little darker, a little more darker. So we can identify there. Select the material. There is something else here. Let's see where this is. Let's copy it here. Standard. Let's put it in red. Yeah. To see if we can identify it. Look, it's right here. It's the chrome. Okay, let's leave it white. Cool. As these materials are all associated with this object, there in Unreal, we will also know. Don't worry about that now. Just worry about this project here and your project there in transforming the Corona or V-Ray materials to standard, okay? You could say to me, oh Dennis, I have an ARC model here that has 10 different materials. So theoretically, you would have to transform the 10 materials into standard. You could tell me that this would be unfeasible. Well, you could reduce the amount of material from 10 to 5, you know. This is also an optimization process. Okay, great. I think the one at the bottom could be a little black rubber. Let's isolate this object to work only on it. Let's see if it's grouped. It's grouped. Can we open the group this time? We don't want to ungroup. We just want to open the group because then we can close the group and this object goes back to being a union of several objects. So let's open it. Let's see if we have more groups to open. Let me see. We don't have more. Let's see here. Okay, let's see. Let's open the group. Let's see if it has something. No. Okay, let's convert to polygon. Right button, convert to polygon. So we can select here either as a polygon or as edit mesh, okay? Select the feed so we can put a little black rubber, a little different. I'll create a copy here. Plastic black, copy, and I'll put plastic black 02, okay? I'll make it a little darker so we can see the difference and apply it. We applied it. Look, here we can see the difference. The rubber and another one that will be a black plastic. Let's do the same thing here. Right button, convert to polygon. Select where we want to apply the color of the rubber. This plastic black 02. Let's apply it there. So we have the same material because if I adjust one, I also adjust the other, right? Cool, excellent. Okay, so this one is okay. This one we already worked on, and the leather too. So we can attach one object to the other. Let's close all of this and let's ungroup them because now we can attach them. Let's ungroup them again because this one is going to be an element and this one is going to be another one. On Unreal, we also have the option to ungroup the object, but in my point of view, to do that inside Unreal is not very efficient. So it's better if we attach the objects. This way we can transform all the objects in one. We will understand the reason of these things soon, okay? So let's ungroup this and group and attach the objects, okay? Look, so let's convert to polygon, this one as well, and let's attach them. Okay, Max is telling me that I have materials associated already. If I want to create entity, yeah, cool. So it created two materials inside one. Okay, one sub material. Let's attach it. This one right here, same thing. It created a sub material. Let's attach this leg. That's it. Let's select the material and see how many materials was created. We have here basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 materials. The last one, plastic bag, is this fit here. This one that is this here. This one that is this. This one this. This one this. And this one that is the leather. Cool. A lot of materials. And we can identify or change the IDs. Okay, let's do the same thing on this armchair. Okay, let's select and convert. Okay, great, we converted all of them. Attach, let's attach. Okay, same thing, perfect. We attach it and we have something else here. Let's check it out. Oh, it's a plastic. Let me see what is applied to it. It is already standard. Okay, let's attach it. Okay, great, let's suck it. Perfect. We have here 7. It makes sense to have more because we have this white here, this little white here. On Unreal, it's gonna be a chrome. We have here this one, this chrome one, this black, that is this one that is the other, and the last one, the leather. Okay, perfect. This object is done. That's ready. Yeah, it was transformed from V-Ray to standard. All the materials now are the standard type. Let's unhide all and show all the scene. Look the position of this armchair. It's right here. I know that we have another armchair here that wasn't converted from V-Ray to standard. So we can just delete it. Look at this. We can delete it and we can replace for this one. Let's put it here. Let me see. Select this with shift. I create a copy. You see this? And I replace it here. Now we rotate the position that we want. I'm gonna leave it like this because Unreal we're gonna change it. Okay, great. The two armchairs now are the standard type. Okay, cool. That's great. Let's now think about another object. See if the couch is already in standard. Okay, that is already in standard. That's cool, perfect. This one I know that is in standard as well. I already left it in standard. The same theory, we're doing the same thing. Okay, that's great. The ID is here, great. Let's talk now about this chair here. Okay, this little chair here. Let's see the type of material that is associated with this, and if it is not standard, we're going to transform it into standard. Let's see here. Click right here, and let's reset the material editors. Let's take it. We have the V-Ray type of materials. Is it grouped? No, it's not. But it is already attached. So basically, we just have two materials here. One for the leg and one for the seat. That's great. So let's transform from V-Ray to standard. This must be the chair leg. That's it. So let's transform it from V-Ray to standard. Let me leave it black, or we can use the same plastic that we created. Yeah, so we can call it plastic, and after on Unreal we can replace it. And this other material here. All right, great. We have a composite here. Let's see which map is applied. Okay, let's see this. Okay, great. Let's use this material to mark the position. Okay, let's copy this, transform into standard, and paste. Oh, it pasted the wood texture. So let's get back here and take, let me see if there is some other texture that we can take. Okay, now we can get the texture there. So let's take copy here, that's it, and transform to standard. Okay, look at this, yeah, and paste here. Great, we pasted. Let's now take the correct material that is doing the evaluation on the diffuse material, but as in Unreal, the ways to create the loads are different. So we only use in the diffuse to mark the texture. Okay, there we're going to work on the material. That's great. So also the chair is ready. Let's suck it. Standard. Okay, great. Let's show the scene now. This ceiling is bothering, so let's hide this. We've learned how to do it. Okay, that's great. Now it's easier. Look, as it had the same materials applied to the other chairs. When we changed this one, the other ones were changed as well. So it doesn't take too long, the process. We're going to do a lot of things automatically. Cool. So these chairs are ready. Yeah. Next object that we can change the texture, for example, the lamps here, the spots. Let's select the material that is applied to it. V-Ray, standard, and V-Ray. Look at this. Let's see what we have and how we can change it. The most efficient form. Let's go here. Let's click right here. Let's see what we have here. Let's open the group. Here we have a lot of objects. Okay, we have this object here. Let's suck it again. Okay, we have the frame, the plastic, the one that is inside, and the glass bulb. So let's transform it to standard. Let's take the frame here, put it in white, V-Ray to standard. Cool. Let's color it white. Great. So this is the frame. The next one is probably the part behind. Let's color it white. So let's transform it into standard. And now we can color it white. It's going to be hidden. We're not gonna even see this, but it's okay. This one is already in standard. Okay, that is this texture here inside, and we have probably the glass here. Standard. Oh, it's inside. It is the bulb that we're going to put the emissive type material. It is already in standard, so let's color it in yellow so that we will know that this is the material that we can put a light. Okay, as it's the same material applied to all the lamps, so it has changed from all of them. Meanwhile, let's leave it grouped. Okay, cool. Let's see. So the lamps, we already did it here. This one, as we were talking about lamps, let's see this one, which material is applied. It is in standard already, so don't worry about it. Let's see what else we have about lamps. I think I have this, but I think it's in standard. Yeah, it is in standard. Okay, so the lamps are already okay, so we can close the layers. Okay, cool. Look, the lamps are ready. The main story is we already transformed it. Okay, let's see what else we transform it to standard. This here we already transform it. Let's see the floor so that we can close this layer here. Okay, press M to open the material. Here the floor is in standard. Let me see, we have here this and this. So let's create for the green one, that is the grass. Let's paint it green. We don't need texture now yet. We will talk about texture soon, don't worry about it. Next class we will talk about it. Okay, let me see, let's apply this. Yeah, it's green. About the swimming pool, let's copy it here, clicking and dragging. Let's change it to swimming pool. Blue, let's leave it blue. Okay, great. Let's see what else we have about floors. We have these floors here, the sidewalk. Let's see what material is applied here. It is already standard. Let's see this one. It is already standard. Cool. That's it looks like all of these materials of the floor, they are already standard. Oh, we have the water of the swimming pool. Look, we have the Corona type material. Let's transform it into standard. Let's leave it a little bit blue so that we can know that that is the water. The transparency and other things, we're gonna make it Unreal. Okay, great. Let me see what it is. Oh, this is the swimming pool that we adjusted, the street that we already adjusted, the little wood that we already adjusted, and the floor, the main floor that we already adjusted. So the floor of the house is already finished. Let's see what else we can change. Now we can talk about the frames that are the same elements of all the objects. So let's go materials. Let's suck and see what it has. Look at this. We have materials of V-Ray type. Basically, we have several different materials. We have the glass, Let's see how it is. This glass here. Let's suck it here. A lot of materials here. Let's take it off the black so that we can see where they are applied, the things. We have here the material for the rubber, the material for the frame, and the material for the frame. Let's put the rubber in red so that we can identify. Okay, we're already identifying things here. What else we have here in materials? This one's probably the glass. Let me see. The same material. Here is the glass, and let's see what it is. Is on the floor. Okay. Okay. All right. We have a material. Okay, I got it. We have different materials here, but it can be the same material. Okay. Okay. So let's do something here. Let's apply the same material for the same type of thing. I think it's more smart. Okay. So to get more free time, let's create a black material here. Okay, that is the one that we're going to apply on the frame right here. Okay, let's take this frame, apply the black, and suck it. So okay, let's apply this, and on this as well. Let's see if that's right. Yeah, that's cool, interesting. Yeah, that's it. Black. We can hide it. Let's see. We can hide it as well. This one, and this one. This one as well. Okay, let's hide it. Let me see. Just the glass, there is no frame. Let's see this. Yeah, there is a frame here. Hide it. This one, it has frame, so black. Yeah. This one as well. Yeah. So black, hide. This one as well, put in black, hide. This one is black and hide. This the rubber. It's really huge. This rubber. We can make it smaller. Let's do it right now. Right here. So like this. And let's see. Yeah. That's it. Let's see. Okay, yeah, we can do this. This one as well. Let me see. Yeah. Let's make it smaller. Great. This one as well. And this one as well. Yeah, great. Let's see. What is this? Is there a frame? Yeah, there is. So black and hide it. Yeah. Cool. Nice. So the frames, I think, there is this one. Okay, again. Great. Now, let's paint these other ones here, these frames here. Okay. How can we paint most of them at the same time? We can select all of them. All right. They are the same elements. And look at this. We're selecting all of them. This one as well. This one as well. These, all of these. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just showing you how to do it. But I'll probably leave it this file like finished. All right, so you won't have to do all of it. But obviously, it's really interesting if you do it so that you can learn it. But okay, after you understand, you don't need to do all of it. Okay, I'm gonna let it finish for you. And the final of this module, you will get it all finished. Just you can verify this if everything's okay. But for now, uh, we're going to do it together. But you don't really need to do it if you don't have enough time. If you have a lot of tasks to do, don't worry about it. Okay. Look at this. So now I'm going to put an edit mesh that is different from the edit poly. Here we can select the objects. I'm going to convert all of them to poly first, then add edit mesh. This way we can do a lot of things, apply a lot of different materials at the same time. So look, we're going to do something a little bit scary. We're going to paint everything in a color. You can use the pink, that is the hardest to see. After we can add the other colors, okay? Look, so we're going to paint it in pink. Let's create the rubber here. Let's paint it in pink so that we can identify this. Okay, great. Now let's select the other elements. Look, I'm going to paint all of it in a glass color. Let's select all of it right here, right there. This one, that one as well. Yeah, let's select everything here. Let's go. Okay. If this is taking too long and hard, because this project wasn't thought in Unreal, because we're adapting this to Unreal. Okay. So it's taking too long time and it is hard to change the materials to Unreal. But after when you do the project, you will be doing thinking in Unreal. The way you will save materials, you will transform into standard. That will be easier. Okay. And now what else? Oh, here the edge. Okay, that is the black color. Let's do the same thing. Select everything. That will require a little more work. Let's see. But it's okay. Yeah, let's do it. Black. I think something went wrong, but it's okay. We can select this. Black again. Yeah, great. This is ready. This is finished. Let's hide selection. Let's see what's wrong. Yeah, let's hide this. Oh, hold on. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so let's go one by one. It's better. I'm kind of lost, but it's okay. Right button, hide. Let's paint it in pink. This is the hardest part. Let's convert everything to polygon. Okay. Look. So the pink is the hardest part, the glass, and the black. Okay, great. Hide selection, pink, that is the rubber, that is the hardest, blue, black. Okay, cool. Hide selection, okay, pink, Blue. Okay, let's see. Black and black. Hide. Okay, same thing there. Pink. Let me see. Black and blue. Hide. Pink. Blue. Black and black. Hide. Let's see. Pink. Blue. Black and black. And hide it. Okay. All right. Let's go. Pink. Blue. Black and black. Okay. I'm going to accelerate the video so that it's not going to take too long. Just watch it and I'll get back soon. Okay, I'm back. I think we finished the frames. Let's unhide all. Select all the frames. And I think all of them were made. We have the doors here, but I don't think they are glass doors. We'll verify this soon. Let's check it out. I think they are. Yeah. Okay. We can consider them as glass doors. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. The materials applied on it. We have this Viray type material. Probably this is the glass. Let's paint it in blue. Or even better, let's apply the same material that we applied for the others. Okay. Let's use the edit mesh. Let's apply the same here. That is the glass material. Okay. Okay, let's see, what is this? What is this? Okay, this is the frame that is black. Standard. Let's paint it in black too. At Unreal, we replace it. Let's see what else we have. The white material. That is the standard type material. Let's see if it is applied. Oh, it's right here. It's a chrome. It is already standard in yellow. Okay, after we can identify Unreal. I believe that the frames, all of them were done. We have some doors here. I have this door here, this one here, and this one here. Let's create a white material standard white door. All right. Let's paint it here. Let's apply white here. Well, I think the frames are all finished. Oh, actually, there is this one here in the bathroom. Let's paint it in blue right here and black right here. Okay, we can attach it one with the other. Okay, and if we want a lot more preciousness, we can paint the border here in another color to differentiate, you know. We can even chamfer this glass to make it look nice, you know. Let's take the attach off. We separate it. Let's chamfer the edge, or with the polygon, or with the chamfer. Let's see. It's gonna be better. That's it. We can invert green, and inside we can put blue. Okay, then we will make the border. Unreal doesn't have the exit color of the Corona and V-Ray, so we're going to simulate this. As far as I know, there is no exit color, so we're going to simulate this trying another color. Okay, cool. So let me see. Let's convert to polygon and attach. Cool. I think the frames are finished. Yeah, look at this. Cool. So the frames are finished. These furnitures we can paint of white. Meanwhile, but no, we're going to paint it of wood texture for a reason, but I will explain it on the other class because this class is already too long. Okay, let's see then. Well, basically just the decorations we have left and the furniture. Okay, but now I can tell you that the decorations are cool, are fine, because I already did then. I already transformed it into standard, so we can hide them. Now we just gotta work on the furnitures. All of these are okay because I already did them. We also did the chairs together. The table, let's check it out. It is in Corona type material. So let's see what we have in Corona here. Standard. Look, we have a Corona here. So, okay. We're gonna leave it more black or gray so that we can differentiate this. Standard. Let's leave the other a little pink. Meanwhile, okay? So that we can differentiate then. It's not grouped. We can hide it. Okay. Let's see the kitchen cabinet, standard. Let's see the black here. Let's hide it. Okay. The armchair we already did. Okay, great. This one is Corona. Okay, so let's change it in standard. We are almost finishing. Okay, we just transformed it. So, okay, let's hide it. What else? These two already know that they are right. We already did previously. These two are already. Okay, great. Basically, we just have the closet and the piano. Okay, the closets I'm going to make the next class. That is the class that we're gonna talk about mapping. Okay, great. And the piano, I'm gonna leave it here as an exercise for you. Okay. In the finished file at the end of this module here, which is the preparation of the files for Unreal, I'll leave the house already with the materials that we are making together here. And I will also make the piano reducing the amount of standard, decreasing the amount of texture, and turning all of them into standard, okay? Because do you remember, they are all Corona materials and they need to be transformed into standard. I'll do everything here for you, and at the end of this module, you will have the file again for you to download with all the updates that we made until the end of this module, that all the materials are correct, the textures, mapping, okay? So I will leave this exercise for you to do, okay? And transform the piano materials into standard, and at the end of the module, the entire scene will be ready also to send to Unreal. Okay, so I'm going to finish this class because it is long, it is too long, and we're going to see each other on next class, okay, where we're going to talk about mapping. See you soon. Let's talk now about another very important subject in this process of preparing the files at Unreal, which is about the mapping of the U channel. Let's open the layers so that we can see the whole project again. But this project here, we don't need to use it because it won't go to Unreal. A very important thing is to map the number one map to take the project to Unreal. The reason it's important, actually it's not really essential, but you don't need to do it, but it's a good strategy to do it for some objects based on basically one criteria. Which one? Let me show you what is the mapping of the number one channel. I'm gonna show it to you on Unreal, okay? When we talk about materials, we will create a load that will make it easier. The texture scale, I can increase or decrease the texture scale directly on Unreal. And to do it, it's easier if we leave the channel mapped in a square shape, mapped 1 by 1, 1 meter for 1 meter, or 100 centimeters for 100 centimeters, okay? And what's the criterion that I'm going to use to define if this object needs to be mapped in 1 for 1? Let me open a parenthesis here. When we talk about Unreal Engine 5, we have basically using the Lumen technology in the night that we're going to talk about it there when we get to Unreal Engine 5. When we talk about Unreal Engine 5, if we use the Lumen technology, we don't need to open the mesh, which means that we don't need to open the number 2 channel. By using Unreal Engine 4, the light information, a thing that we call build, is stored in the number 2 channel of our model. When we talk about Unreal 5, specifically talking about Lumen, everything happens in a dynamic way. The rays or tracing, everything happens instantly, so we don't need to store the light information that is the build result, the render result in the number 2 channel. We don't need the number 2 channel. Basically, we just need the number 1 channel. And the number 1 channel is responsible to store the texture. When you are inside 3ds Max or Blender or Maya, for example, you apply the texture in your model, right? You open the materials, you, in this case, suck the material, apply a texture, and put it on your model. When you do it, you're applying this texture in the number 1 channel of your model. For example, let me isolate this. If I apply a modifier here called unwrap, you don't need to do it, okay? Just because I want to show it to you what Max does. When you put a texture or a wood, for example, a wood, when you put a wood here, the 3ds Max is using for standard the number 1 channel of your object. Look at this. So it is mapping the number 1 channel. Let's open the editor. Look at this. Obviously, the mesh is not open. It's not mapped in a way that the cuts are correct, and the mesh has been thought out at the time of opening. Um, as we are talking about the masonry, the ceiling of our project, we don't need to map specifically each area, not for this project. But obviously, if you have an armature or some model within your project that you need to do a specific mapping of channel 1, then you will do a specific mapping here inside the UV editor. But even though it will be mapped in the number 1 channel, okay? When you talk about Unreal Engine 4 and Unreal Engine 5, there are many ways to process the lights and the materials and the bouncing inside there. You have dynamic lights, you have dynamic light, you have the build process, you have the DA looming key. There are several ways to do the same thing. In this course here, specifically, we're going to talk about the looming technology, where there is no necessity to do the render of this light. When we talk about Unreal 4 and Unreal 5 using the build technology, we need of the number 2 channel to store the light information when we're using the build process. But in our case, we use the looming process, the looming technology, where everything, calculations, bounces, direct lights, indirect lights are done dynamically, which means in a real time. Using this technology or ray tracing, which is also possible to use there, there is no need to open the channel 2, okay? So in our course here, we'll only worry about the number 1 channel, okay? If you want to get to know more about this function, how to use the number 2 channel, or if you are going to do a build process, you can have access to Divi's Unreal Engine 4 course. I'll leave the link below. You don't need to buy it unless you want to learn how to use Unreal Engine 4. Soon, I'll make a video for you, okay, about good practices, explaining why to use one version, why to use the other, when to use the version 4, when to use the version 5, okay? So for this course here, we'll stick to Unreal Engine 5 with looming lighting technology, okay? Where it's not necessary to use the number 2 channel. And if I, for example, I abandon here, look at this. I don't have the mapping done here in the number 2 channel, just on the number 1 channel. So if we were to use, for example, a build in Unreal Engine 4 or a build in Unreal Engine 5, we would have to worry about also mapping channel 2, okay? But it's not going to be necessary because we're going to do it on Unreal Engine 5 using looming, okay? Cool. Let's get back to the number 1 channel. So all the materials that you apply on your model, it goes to number 1 channel, okay? What is interesting that you do? Well, you leave the number 1 channel mapped in 1 by 1 in 100 centimeters for 100 centimeters, because it's going to make it easier when you need to increase or decrease the repetition of the texture inside Unreal. It's a good tip, because if, for example, let's take it off the ceiling, let's take the floor, it's going to make more sense. Look, the floor of the house. Let's think that in our project, it's a white floor. Okay, let's take a material here, white floor, and let's apply it here, the material. Cool. Let's think that you want inside Unreal Let's assume that you want to create an interaction inside Unreal where your client, your project will allow the exchange of materials. At some point, you will place the wooden material. It's interesting for your material to be mapped one by one. Why? Because if you want to increase the wood grains, for example, there at Unreal, you can do it without having to go back to 3ds Max and adjust here. Look at this. We can increase or decrease the wood grains, correct? Inside the 3ds Max. Perfect. You also can do it inside Unreal, but it's interesting if you leave a pattern, because there we will learn that when we go to create the materials, we will create a master material, which will be our main material, and we want other repeats of material based on that master material. So you think with me, if you have a floor where its mapping is one by one, you use the wood texture for this floor. That and then you go to another element. For example, this wall here, it's where the mapping, you're going to apply the same texture, same wood texture, and it's 2.5 for 1. So you want to apply the same texture, wood texture, in another element, a random element, where the mapping is 0.5 or 5 centimeters for 50 centimeters. It's going to be really complicated, and we will have to create a lot of materials with different measures, and that's going to be confusing, and you will be disorganized inside Unreal. So it's cool always that is possible mapping in one by one, because when you put a wood texture on the floor, that will also work on the floor, also on the glass, also the other thing with the same repetition, same time, because all the models were modeled in the same measure. But that's for sure, there are some exceptions. For example, let's suppose you have the armchair. Let's see here. Let's suppose you have this armchair, and on this chair specifically, it has a specific mapping. Look, I have this direction here, another one here. So it doesn't make sense to put, for example, the 1-for-1 mapping, because you will screw this up. Okay, this model is going to be screwed up. So look at this. It's not really cool. So it does make sense, because here it's really specific, the mapping type, and you probably will not change the wood grains. And so that's okay to create another material, because this is a really specific object. Okay, so okay, but in the general objects like wall, floors, pergola, things that are in general that you can possibly increase or decrease the texture repeat size, it's interesting if you leave it mapped in 1-for-1. So let's do it. Okay, I'm gonna explain how you can do it. Ctrl+Z, or you can simply delete the modifier. Okay, let's go. Let me get back here the white wall, how it was. Actually, I can just don't save the file. Let me see. But let's do it right. That way it's going to be organized. Cool. Now let's get back here. Let's paint everything pink. Okay, how can we do the mapping? So you select the object. I'm gonna erase here because I already did the mapping. You're going to click on the object that you wanna map. You go modifiers, and you're going to select here this one, okay? Because this is going to map your texture based on the mapping type that you want. For example, planar, cylindrical, spherical. Look at this, the box. Let's put a texture here so that we can see the mapping happening. Okay, I'm gonna take a random texture here so that we can see it. Okay, here, and I'm going to apply it here. And let's see the texture. Look, it's mapping, but it's in planar or cylindrical. You can choose it. Look at this. Interesting, right? Okay. As planar, it's going to look like planar. As cylindrical, have a cylindrical shape, but we want the box shape because this way it's going to map in all the direction, like in X, Y, and Z. Okay, look at this. Let's isolate this. Let's see what's happening. Look, it's mapping all the directions. Okay, planar and in box, but we want this mapping in 1 for 1 for 1 meter for 1 meter for 1 meter. As we are working centimeters, it's going to be 100 centimeters for 100 centimeters for 100 centimeters. Okay, look at this, the mapping is done. So this texture is mapping 1 meter for 1 meter for 1 meter. If we create a box, for example, with this measure 1 for 1 for 1, as we are working the right scale, the correct scale, I can see that the repetitions are happening each 1 meter. Look at this. If I put more 1 meter here, the texture is gonna repeat, and so on. The texture now is mapped in 1 meter for 1 meter for 1 meter. Besides, you can also adjust the orientation. How can you do it? You select this, click on this to activate the gizmo. Click here, or you can have the access to gizmo here, and you can, for example, rotate the texture orientation. Or for example, I want the boots in this direction or the other direction. You can do it yourself. Okay, and enable snap to rotate from degree to degree. Also, the orientation vertical. Look at this. Let's adjust the orientation. You see? Okay. So it's cool if I adjust this mapping, this 1 for 1 for 1 mapping based on faces that you're using. For example, for this house here, for this floor, I want the floor in this orientation, and here on the side I want in vertical. Or if I want the wood in the horizontal direction, I can rotate like this. Okay, we mapped in 1 for 1 for 1. It doesn't mean that we have to use the wood texture. I can get back the white texture, for example, because it is already mapped. Okay, any texture that I use here, it is already mapped in 1 for 1 for 1. Let's take another texture here. Let's see this one, for example, this black one. Let's suppose it's a carpet. Look at this, it is already mapped 1 for 1 for 1. Okay, but don't worry about the orientation, because on Unreal you can change the orientation, okay, in vertical or horizontal. Okay, but on the side here, it's interesting that you leave it mapped the way you want. Let me show you another example. The wood, for example, let me take the wood here. Look, the mapping in this orientation. Okay, so let's get here the wood texture, apply it. Let's remove. Okay, so it has lost the mapping. Let's go here, box, 1 for 1 for 1. But look, the orientation here, it is in horizontal. Okay, and the wood is in vertical. So let's rotate this. Okay, let's rotate like this. All right, 92 degrees. Okay, so nice. Now it's in vertical, but the side here on this side is not the same orientation. Look at this. It would be better if it's the same orientation. So let's do it. Let's put it 90 degrees in the y-axis. Look at this. 90 degrees. Okay, perfect. Now we have the same orientation in this direction and this face here. This way it's more realistic. And here, the same thing. You can leave this orientation here, or you can rotate this for the other orientation. Let's leave it like this, okay? Okay, so what's the best benefit of mapping in 1 for 1 for 1 or 100 for 100 for 100 centimeters? What's the benefit? It's right here. When you're getting site Unreal, if you need to map to increase or decrease the repetition of, for example, your text or of your model, you can do it on Unreal, and it's gonna be correct. It's gonna be in a square shape. Okay, 1 for 1 for 1, and you won't need to get back in 3ds Max or the software that you're using to model or to adjust the mapping. Okay, let's do some more here so that we can get it better. Let's do the floor here on the grass. This is gonna be a grass area that we're gonna put on Unreal. Let's take a grass texture. I think I have one here. Let me see. Standard. Let me take a texture here. A grass texture. This one right here. Okay, let's apply it. Great. So there is no mapping. Look at the size of the grass box. 100 for 100 for 100. Cool. So if I need to adjust it on Unreal, I will increase or decrease on Unreal. Okay, great. So that's it. Cool. Let's do the same thing on some other object. Let's see. I think this is also interesting. Let me see. Okay, box here. Look, 1 for 1 for 1. It's really small. We can adjust it on Unreal. Okay, it's done. Let me see what else I would change on Unreal. This wall here. Let's see this. There are two materials, different materials. For one masonry is white and the other one is gray. I can map everything with the same material. Let's select the modifier. 1 for 1 for 1. Good. So when I apply a texture here, it is already mapped. When I apply another texture here, it is already mapped. Cool. It's done here. Let's see this one as well. Let's put it here, the gutter. Let me see. Cool. We're going to put reflection variations for the gutter. 1 for 1 for 1. What else? I think I would adjust the windows with no doubt, because let's think I want to put a reflection variation on the glass or on the frames. It's interesting if it's 1 for 1 for 1, so that I can increase or decrease the repetition, okay, on this reflection, for example. It's really good that we are working in an organized way. Layer. I want to see just the frames. I'm gonna close the other layers because it doesn't matter. Let's see. Let's select all of them. The VW. 1 for 1 for 1. Okay, great. Even with the different materials here, the three materials here, black, pink, and the blue one, this is going to recognize the mapping the three materials, because it's not mapping the material, it's mapping the geometry. Okay, now it's done. Yeah, let's get back the other layers. And the frame is ready. We can close it. Okay. We're not gonna use the project one. This ceiling is okay. This other one is okay. No. Let's delete because we used to show it. VW, one for one. Cool. It's ready. Ceilings are done. Okay, great. This one already left mapped. Okay, so it's ready. Don't worry about it. So the ceiling, I can close the layer because it's ready. Okay, look at this. It's okay. Let's go for the walls. Look, the walls, one for one. I left it ready for you. VW here, one for one. So this wall is ready. Let's see this wall here. VW, one for one. But I'm going to do it again with you. VW box, one for one. Cool. Yeah. The criteria that I'm using is. What is the criteria that I'm using? Is if I'm going to need to adjust, or if I will probably need to adjust the size of this texture on Unreal. Okay, so I map one for one. Let's see this. This is furniture. This wood here, it's mapped. Okay, you don't need to worry about it because I already did it for you. Following the orientation, these both faces are okay. One for one. You don't need to worry about it. I can hide all of it. Okay, this one as well. Cool. So the walls, all of it are okay. So I can close it, the layer. Okay, now we just did this here. Oh, we are missing this one. So let's apply a texture in black here. Let's see, black. The material is black. Okay, let's apply it one for one. Let's see here, one for one. Yeah, these both are okay, are done. Let's close the layer. Okay, cool. What else? The floors. This one is ready. This one as well. We did together. This one as well. One for one. Okay. Oh, the swimming pool. No, it's not. So VW box. Actually, the water of the swimming pool, right? Then we're gonna apply the noisy to do the water game. Okay. The swimming pool, one for one. Let's put it here. Box, one for one. That is where I'm going to use the floor, right? That I'm going to increase or decrease the repetition, so it's interesting that we can just Unreal. Cool. Here already left for you, but let's do it again. Let's do it together. One for one. Okay, the street is done. Look, so the floor is all ready. Yeah, all the floor. Okay. Now we have the furnitures. This one is interesting and important that we put in one for one and verify the faces, because if you want to put the wooden cabinets, for example, the red wood, the white wood, or to put another type of coating, where you can see the orientation here, and it's gonna be easier on Unreal for us. Okay, let's put the same wood texture here as we can have as a reference, and let's apply all of it one for one for one. Okay, one for one for one. Okay, in vertical is okay. On the side is cool. Oh, that's great. Here it's right. This part here we're not gonna see, so it's okay. Okay, the grains are okay, so it's cool. Yeah, I don't think we have to do anything else here. We got lucky because the orientation is cool here, including this part here. Sometimes in mapping, this part it is in horizontal, so we would have to press the snap and rotate like we did in that part of the grass, between the grass and the swimming pool. Okay, you can get back there and check that out. But in case you need to rotate in your model, in your project, look at this. To identify, activate the gizmo and rotate on the orientation that you want. Okay, you can go for gizmo or you can go over here. Okay, in the Y. Okay, you can rotate like this. Okay, cool, but let's leave it in vertical. Okay, it's done. Okay, great. And let's hide the furnitures here. Okay, what is it? It was part of the furnitures. Okay, it's good that if we rotate this. Okay, let's do it over here, right here. 100 for 100 for 100 centimeters. Let's rotate this in this orientation. I think it's better. Cool. Let's see the side. It's important that we rotate this as well, because it does make sense to keep this way. So let's change it. Let's rotate it like this. Yeah, great. It's correct here. The orientation correct here as well. And now we can adjust the orientation here as well. Look at this. Let's rotate. 90. Great. Look at this. Yeah, everything's okay now. It's correct. That's done as well. Okay, great. Let's see this one. This one we can put the one for one, because if you want to put a variation, the reflection, it will be already mapped. Okay, this one as well, same thing, one for one. If we want to adjust the repeat size in the reflection variation, we can do it. We already did the armchair. It's already correct. Actually, another important element is the table. Let's apply a wood here to see the orientation. Let's see. Let's put it here, one for one. This orientation is okay. It is the longest face. On the side is not okay. Let's rotate this like this, 92 degrees. Let's go. I think it was more. Let's get back here. Oh, it's okay, 90 degrees. Great. Here it's good to rotate as well. 90 degrees. Great. But the leg is not okay. Let's convert to polygon. Select just the legs so that we can change the orientation. Let's change the orientation of this. Let's apply it. The VW box, one for one. Let's see. Vertical, okay. Okay as well here. Great. That's cool. It's done. Let's hide this. Don't worry about the color. It is just that we are adjusting the mapping here. Don't worry about the color. This is specifically mapping, okay, for this model. So it's not interesting if we change it, unless the feet or the legs of the chairs. Okay, we don't need to change everything. We can change just for one, and we can copy for the others. actually replace. Yeah. Mm, let's see. Two elements here. That sometimes maybe we want to put some variation on the reflect. Great. Yeah, it's done. That's it. This one, it's done. Instead of doing for all of it, it's easier if we just copy it and replace all of them like this. Don't worry about being a copy, because on Unreal we're gonna make it in a different way, so don't worry about it. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Let's delete this and let's delete this. That's it. Great. The chocolate here, there is a specific mapping, so we can hide it. The chairs are done, so let's hide. This one are the left mapping for you. Okay, it's ready, it's done. It's okay. This one, I'm not sure, so let's verify this. Oh, it's already mapped, so don't worry about it. Let's hide. The floor, the carpet is ready as well. The armchairs as well. The couch as well. So don't worry about it. This table here, let me see. I think I can change the orientation. Let's see this. One for one. That's it. Let's rotate for 90 degrees. Let's see. Let's rotate this as well. Okay. 90 degrees and 90 degrees for here. Okay, great. Yeah, that's great. That's it. Let's see, it's already selected, so let's apply a different color for the wood. Okay. Okay, convert to polygons, select this. Because this part will be dark wood, and the base, the structure will be black iron. So I use a material for this and another material for this. Okay, great. This one is done. Let's hide it. This one, it's done as well. The lamps, yeah, don't worry about it. The couch is done as well. These two, I'm not sure, so let's check it out. Let's do it again. One for one. Yeah, it's done now. Yeah, it's ready. Cool. This one I'm not sure, so let's do it. One for one. Cool. This, this one I'm not sure, so it's interesting if we map it one for one, because maybe we will want to change the size of the reflection variation. This one as well. The lamp. One for one. This one as well. I think it's interesting if we do it. The lamps here. One for one. Yeah, cool. The faucets here, I think it's a good idea. Yeah, okay. One for one. Yeah. The piano, we already have the specific mapping. It is already mapped in a specific way, so we don't need to do it one for one. I don't think it's interesting, so same situation with the bench. And the last are these little lamps here, but don't worry about it because all of them are mapped. Don't worry about it. already left all of them mapped. Okay, it's a specific mapping, and it's already one for one. So don't worry about it. Okay. And these two is ready as well. It's done. It's mapped one for one. So you don't need to worry about it. Okay. So I think we're done. We finished this class, the texture mapping on channel 1. Okay. Many of these concepts of these things that we are talking about will make sense by the time when you get to Unreal. Okay. When you get there, you will remember, gosh, truth, glad it was done that way. Okay. So if you didn't get it right, like if you got a little confused and it didn't make sense, don't worry about it. You will understand. Okay. So let's finish this class because it's too long. Okay. And I'll see you on the next video. See you. Now let's talk about the pivots. Okay. A very important thing that we need to think is to prepare to take to Unreal is to center the pivots in the models. Unlike the 3ds Max, where by default the pivot is in the center of the object, pivot is here, this axis here. For example, if you select this lamp, the pivot is going to be which is going to give the direction in X or Y, Z, and by default it's going to be in the center of the object inside 3ds Max, which is not the case in Unreal, because Unreal Engine doesn't use by default the pivot in the center of the object. It actually uses as a default the position of the pivot where this element comes from. For example, we are modeling and creating this project within 3D Studio Max, right? Right. But you can create in some other softwares. It doesn't matter, okay? Inside 3ds Max, for example, the pivot comes from in the center of the object and not in 0 here, okay? We can see the 0 in the word. Here's the 0 position. Right button and absolutely word. I type 0, 0, and 0. The pivot and the object is in 0 in the absolute word, okay? Here in 0. If I drag it like this, it means that it is 233 centimeters from the 0 in the word, okay? Great. If I drag it like this, it will be 230 centimeters on the x-axis and 512 centimeters on the y-axis, okay? And 510 centimeters on the z-axis. It is far from absolutely 0, but it remains in the center of the object. On Unreal Engine, it's not like that. Object to Unreal Engine, in this position where it is, the pivot will be in the 0 of the word, and the object will be distant like this. It's like the object be like this here. I'm gonna show it to you, like this. So my object would be here in the original position, the way that he came from 3ds Max as it was exported, but the pivot will be in the 0 of the word there on Unreal. So it's hard to move it, to control it, you know. Let me show you how an object will go to Unreal if I don't adjust the pivot, okay? So it means that I need to correct the pivot, okay? To take the object to the 0 of the word in 3ds Max, so after I can export to Unreal, okay? For example, this lamp here, look at this. Let's test it. You don't need to worry about it, okay? Because we're going to see this next class about exportation. You will learn how to do it, okay? Now let's just worry about this pivot. I'm going to show it to you faster here. Don't worry about it, okay? Okay, let's go. I'm going to put the 0 here, the position, the center of the object. Look, it's not in the 0 of the word. The 0 of the word is here. Let's export this. Okay. I'll find a folder to export. I'm going to create a folder, FBX. That is the format that Unreal understands. I'm going to call it limp test and save. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Great. So it was exported. Now I'm going to Unreal Engine and I'm going to import this. Okay. You don't need to worry about it, about the process, because we will talk about it soon. Okay. Don't worry about it. Let's see. It is just to show you the 0 of the word. Okay. Let's see. So don't worry about it, about the settings here. It's okay. It's fine. It's not important now. We will talk about it soon. Okay. Next class, on the next class. So this is the lamp. I'm going to take it to my scene. Let's put the position here, this position. Look, the lamp is here. However, look where the pivot is. I cannot move it in a good way. So let's suppose the pivot is here. Look, the pivot is here and I cannot even see the lamp because the pivot is not in the 0 of the lamp. It is in the 0 of the word. So I need to put the pivot in the lamp. Then I'll bring the lamp to the 0 of the word. Let's do this test. Let's get back to 3ds Max. Look, I'm going to click with the right button here. And I'm going to say that I want that the lamp be in the 0, in the absolutely 0, okay? Like this. Look. You can put a 0 here, but it's not that interesting. Look at where it's going to be. You know? So it's not really interesting. So it's interesting if you leave the pivot right here, okay? The base of your object on here, right here, on the limit, okay? Because when you drag it like this, the pivot will be right here. Let's do this. You will understand, okay? 0, absolutely 0. I cannot leave it like this. The Y. I'm gonna export like this so that you can have an idea what's gonna happen. I'm gonna give a name here as like 0 pivot. Okay. Lamp test pivot. Okay. Look. Let's see. Let's take it to Unreal. Okay. I'm gonna import this. Okay. 0 pivot. Okay. All right. Look at this. Now it is in the center of the object because it has considered the 0 in max, but it is in the middle of this. It is not on the base, you know? So, you can do it, but it's kind of hard. So it's easier if I adjust the pivot there so that it's going to be easier here because it will be right here. I won't do the rest of the work. Look at this. Let me adjust the position here, right here. Yeah, look, the base. Yeah, great. And let's export again. Pivot is here in the center of the object. Unreal will not consider this position, okay? Unreal is going to consider the position of the object in relation to the 0 of the word. So for Unreal, the pivot is always here. Again, for Unreal, pivot is always here and not here. So if I take this object this way to Unreal, the pivot will be here and the object will be here. If I take this like this to Unreal in this position with the object in 0, the pivot will be here and the object will be in the center. So I need to think, okay, the pivot Unreal will be always here. So I have to adjust it like this. All right, in relation to the pivot of the Unreal. So let's export this like this. Okay, as pivot. Let's see. Base is 0. Okay. Let's see. Great. Let's import to Unreal. Let's import this. Base 0. Yeah. The object is here. Look at this. Now, look at this where the pivot is. It's exactly on the base of my object. Yeah. Look how it's more easy to move the object. Here it's in the 0, in the middle of the object. Here it's out of the right position because I left in max the length distance from the 0 of the word. But this one, we put it right, the object in the 0 of the word in max. So Unreal understood, and now it's okay, it's great here. So the pivot is in the center. Let's do another example. Look at this. Let's get back the scene, the whole scene. Okay, let me try to get it back. Control+Z, but it's not enough. But let's see this. Let's take, for example, this bathtub here. Let's isolate this. Okay, the bathtub is there. It's really far. Look, the 0 of the word here. Unreal will consider the pivot here and not there. Okay, let's just export this. Let's see. Object 02 test pivot. Let's see, 01. Yeah. Okay. Let's import now to Unreal. Let's see. Oops. Let's go again. Yeah. Right here. Great. Our object is here. I think this is right here. This is the one. Let's see. No, it is not this. It's kind of hard to to find this now, but okay. Let's see. Let's check it out. Oh, look at this. It's here. It's really hard. How can you see this bathtub and put it here? It's really hard because the pivot is in a position that is really far from the 0. So it's really hard to get a nice position. Look where the pivot is. All right, so if I want to put a bathtub here, it's going to be really hard because the pivot is in a place and the bathtub is in another place. So it's really complicated. You have no reference, okay? Because when it was exported, Unreal considered pivot in the 0 of the word and not in the position of the object. So let's correct the position of the object. We can put the 0 in pivot in the center of the object and take it to the 0 of the word. Look at this. So we brought it here, in the 0 of the word. Now you can choose between leave the pivot in the 0 100% or as the bathtub, this part, the base, you can say that this is the base, okay, the 0 of the word. Let's export this. Okay, let's see. Let's put it here and 0. Yeah. Okay. And let's import this one. Let's see. We brought it here. I think that's the one. Let's see. Look at this. look how easier it is, because it is in the zero of the word. So it's really easy. I can move it really easy. So if I can think, okay, I'm gonna put it right here on the lamp, or on these boxes, blue boxes, or here or here. It's really easier, you know. So Unreal understands the surface of the objects, so it's easy. It's easier to choose the position. Look at this right here, because the pivot is in the center. The pivot is respecting the position of the object, but not because the pivot is aligned to the object, but because the object is aligned to the pivot, okay? Which pivot? The pivot of the position of the zero in 3D S Max. So it's not the pivot that is aligned to the object. It is the object that is aligned to the pivot, okay? To the zero position of the 3D S Max, or the software that you're using. I can take it off the pivot. I can drag it here, but there on Unreal, it's not going to consider this pivot here. It's going to consider the position 0 of the board, okay? So pivot there on Unreal will be here and not here, okay? So you ask me, okay then, so how important is this for me? Will I have to adjust all the objects in the scene? Will I have to fix the pivot of all the walls, of all the furnitures, of all objects? Well, it depends, yes and no. It depends on your project. If your goal there on Unreal is just to do some animation, so I'm not gonna change anything from position. I'll use them from exactly the place where they are. I'll just do an animation. So it's okay. You don't need to do that. You don't need to adjust the pivot. You just export your project. Select and export, okay? But you know that the pivot will not be here on this wall. It will be here. The other will be here. Everything is gonna be in the center. It's not gonna be aligned to the object, okay? But if you're not gonna change the position, if you're not gonna change the place, if there is no necessity to do it, to move your object during the scene, it's okay. You don't need to adjust the pivot. Now, if for example, oh, then it's the walls, I'm not gonna change the ceiling, the floor, the swimming pool. I'm not gonna change it from place. I'll just maybe the furnitures, but I want to let you do the decorations in Unreal. So yes, it makes sense to export the objects that you will move there, okay? For example, I want to move the bathroom. So I put it in the 0 of the word and I export for there to there. I want to move, for example, this. Maybe I want to leave this here. So I want to take it to another room. So it makes sense to put in the 0 of the word and export this, okay? So I'll be able to move there. The couch, same thing. So maybe I'll move it. So it makes sense to bring the couch here and export, okay? On the 0 of the word. So this way the pivot of this couch will be in the 0 of the word, okay? It's a really important thing, okay? It's necessary when you are going to change objects there on Unreal, okay? But if you're not going to move the objects or positions, it's okay. You don't need to adjust the pivot, okay? But if you're going to change the objects, move, so it's important to align the object to the center of the word. So it'll be easier to move the objects there, okay? I made these 2 examples with you just to exemplify this, okay? But I'll leave in the final of the next class, the exportation class, this file here, this max file here, all done, okay? With the objects in the center, you will see most of the objects will be in the center. Then you will open the file and check it out so that you can understand the reason, okay? You will see that all the furnitures are going to be in the center. The objects will be in the center, piano, the table, one chair, I'm not going to take all of it, just one chart, but I'm going to explain in the next class why, okay? This little bench here, these objects here, there will be all of it that will be in the center of this. So it will be easier to export, okay? It is a good tip because you're not going to use these furnitures just on this project, okay? Maybe you will use these furnitures on other projects, okay? So if the pivot is adjusted in the center of the word, okay, if you need, for example, this bathtub in another project, it will be much easier to adjust the position using this one, that is the pivot, the correct pivot. Look at this, it's really easy. Oh, look at this. I can drag it here. I can rotate this. I can do it, can drag it, one more. So it's easy, okay? Because the pivot is aligned to the object, or the object is aligned to the center of the word, okay? In 3ds Max. Now, if you have this bathtub with the pivot in the wrong position, and you want to put this bathtub right here, look how hard it is. Look. So, if you want to rotate this, look at this. That's horrible. That's not cool, okay? It's really hard. So imagine if you have a new project where you want a bathtub and you already have a library, but the pivot is in the wrong place. So it's hard to rotate and do all the things. So it's interesting if you put more effort to do this, you know, to align and everything, to put in the center, put the object in the center, then you export. Put that, export. Now, for example, in this project specifically, we're not going to do anything with the closets. I'm sure we're not going to do anything with the walls. We're not going to move it, okay? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to move it. So I don't need the pivot in the zero of the word, okay? Great. Basically, that's it. Take a look on this file that you're following, okay, until here, and try to identify if it's interesting to put the object in the center of the word, or if the other object is not, okay, try that, you know, because that's going to be really good for you. You will realize more things about it, okay? Do it. Do this exercise that you try to identify which object is interesting to put in the center of the word, or if it doesn't need, okay? Do this exercise, and in the final of the next class, I will leave this file here with all the objects in the center, okay? The way that I thought that was interesting to leave, okay? Okay, then we can go, right? And after, you can open the file and see if that makes sense or not, okay? Nice. So the project that you have here, think in this strategy, okay? Will I move the object in the future? Will I use the object in the future? So if it's cool or not to put it in the center of the word. So that's it. But in case I'm going to do just an animation, nothing else. So you don't need to move the objects, okay? You can leave the pivot that it is, okay? So that you won't waste your time. In case I will use an animation, but in the future, who knows if I will use these objects. So that in that case, it makes sense if that you adjust the pivot, okay? Cool. Let's finish this class here, and in the next class, we will talk about exportation, okay? How to move the objects to Unreal. Cool. Let's talk now about the exportation of the files, okay? I left here the final version of this file here in Max, okay? Look, you can click on the link right below of this video. uh, because it is already the max version. Okay, it is already correct, the mapping and everything, the objects. Okay, it was corrected, the pivots, so don't worry about it. Okay, the materials are already replaced. Okay, they were transformed into standard. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna leave it here so that you can download it and follow this class with me. Okay, or if you just want to follow me with your file there, it's okay. But if you want, just click right below here and download the files. Okay, so let's go. So what did I do between the last class and this class? I just verified the mapping of all the objects. Okay, I checked if it was correct, if the direction was correct. Okay, everything's correct now. Okay, another thing that I did was I replaced the materials that was like Corona and Duray into standard. Okay, I transformed it then into standard. If you select the piano material, everything here it is in standard. Okay, this black, all of this, all of them are in standard. All of it was replaced. Okay, of all objects, so it's gonna be easier to work with this. Okay, look, standard as well. So yeah, everything is in standard. And also it was corrected the pivots. Okay, based on that criteria that we talked about. For example, if I want to move on Unreal, I will leave the object aligned to the 0 of the word. Okay, but if I don't want to move the objects like walls, ceiling, floor, I'll leave it like this. Okay, let's see the layer here, layer explorer. Here we have the ceiling that is aligned to the pivot where it was. I didn't want to change it. The pivot positioning, the decorations, we'll talk about it soon. Let me see the floor. It is already adjusted in the position that it was. Okay, 0 of the word here. And I'm not going to adjust the floor because I'm not going to move it. Okay, the frames, I'm going to keep it. The furniture, this. Okay, good. Let me take the furnitures and I'll leave just the frames. What I did with the frames specifically, these frames they are basically frame and glass. Okay, however, some of these glasses here are sliding glasses. Okay, go to the left and to the right. Some doors they open and they close. Okay, cool. And there on Unreal, these objects can be interactive. Okay, for example, as the character approaches the door will open. You know, as he moves away, the door closes. Okay, we can create that interactivity there. And for that, I made some windows that I want to open and close the door, release the access for navigation. Well, I'm going to move these doors. For example, this door here, it's a door for this area, the living room, the main living room. Let me get the wall here so that you can see. Okay, it is one of the main living rooms. So there, during the navigation, my character comes here and the door is going to slide like this. After, it's going to slide like that. For me to do that with the pivot here, distant, it will be really hard to adjust the position of the door, you know, to create the animation. So what I did was I put the door here in the 0 of the pivot. I left it here in the center of this. There on Unreal, I can put the door on the right position and animate this. It's going to be much easier. Okay, same thing here. This door here from a room, for example, this door is from here. this room here. Okay, same thing when I approach this door, it's going to slide. Okay, a little bit different here, these two doors. I'm going to explain it why. These two doors, if you notice, the zero of the word is here. Okay, this door, I don't want it to move to open in the other side. I don't want this. I want this to open in the pivot, like if it was a door like that. Okay, this rotation, but Unreal considers a pivot of the word and not pivot on the object. So if I want the pivot to be positioned at the end of the door, so I will not put the door in the center because the pivot will be in the center here. So I put right here at the end of the door, okay? Like this. Because this way, the door will use the position of where it is in relation to the word, okay? Same thing this door here, okay? As it is here, close to the zero of the word, there Unreal, it's going to open in this way, okay? Like this. It looks kind of confusing, but don't worry about it, okay? We'll talk more about it soon, about interactions and everything will make more sense, okay? So meanwhile, I'm just explaining why the doors are like this, okay? As Unreal understands the zero of the word, when I export this door, pivot is be right here. It's going to be right here. So this door is gonna rotate like this. It's gonna open like this, okay? And this one like this. Cool. Let's see what else we have here. The frames, the furnitures, the closets. They are cool. We don't need to move them. The cabinet, the kitchen cabinet, the office. Let me see what it is. I think it is one of the arms of the armchair. I think. I'm not sure, but I think so. Let's see. I'm gonna delete it. Okay. Yeah. After we can duplicate this, just in case. So, the piano. Probably I'll move it. So I left here in the center of the pivot. Okay. The sink as well. The one as well. If I want to use in some other project, it's okay. The chair as well. Remember, we had 6 chairs. So I just left one here because I can copy on Unreal instead of adjusting 4 positions, okay? Okay. So let's do this. What else we have? The table as well. The couch, yeah. The bathtub, couch, this one. One of the armchairs. We have 2 armchairs actually. Let's delete one. What else we have? Let me see. What is this? Okay. Also, we're going to move there on Unreal. Let me see. Okay. Let me see. Okay. We can save it. And this one as well. So if I want to move this chair on Unreal, the pivot is in the center, so it's okay. Let's see about the little armchair, the little arm. We can just here. Okay, let's select the polygon. Oh, it is already selected. Cool. But we have more things selected, so let's select this too. I think we have one more little screw. Let me save it. Select the layer. Cool. Let's copy this now. I'm going to clone to an object so we can flip it. Okay. Let me see. Y. Okay, great. Now we choose the right position here. Right here. I think it's cool here. Let me see if it's okay. Let me see if the other side is okay. It's a little different. But let me see. Let me make it correct. Let's attach it. Yeah, great. Cool. Now everything is just one object. Cool. So all the furnitures were corrected. The pivot, okay. The lamps as well. Yeah. Cool. The walls, I kept the same way because I'm not gonna move them. And the project, we don't need to send it. Okay. Nice. So we have all the pivots corrected. Okay. Our project is ready to be exported to Unreal. Okay. Let's save this because this file here is going to be available for you to download it. Okay. Nice. So how can we export this file and send it to Unreal? It's very simple. You just export it in FBX. But instead of exporting all the project, let's export this in a segmented way because it's going to make it easier. Okay, and we can work in an organized way with this, in this way. Let's get started. Exporting this ceiling. Select this, the elements, export, and that's it. Cool. Look, I created a folder here, FBX folder. Remember the text here, the pivot text is, so I'm going to delete them so that we can get started again. Okay. Now we don't need of them. Let's delete them. Cool. And I'm also going to delete this folder here. I'm going to delete this, so there is no folder anymore. But we're going to export together all the files. Okay, in FBX, and I'm going to leave these files in FBX so that you can download them. All right, you can click on the link below, and that's it. You will download them. In case you have some problem in your FBX file or exportation or files in Max or some compatibility problems, you can go straight to the FBX files. Okay. That I will leave it for you here so that you won't have problems. Okay, so let's create a FBX folder that you must have already downloaded. Okay, the Max file that you downloaded, FBX, and let's put the things inside there. Click here, FBX. Let's create a new one. We're gonna call it ceiling. Okay, let's call it here SM ceiling, and yeah, like this. SM means static mesh. Okay. Unreal has some specific nomenclatures. For example, when we are talking about some geometry, the object in 3D, Unreal calls it a static mesh. It doesn't need to have that name, okay? So don't worry about it. You don't need to name like this. However, it's the name that is used with. So if you send this file to another person and you name it with SM in front of the name, the person will know that it is a static mesh. It's not a light, it's not a material, it is not a texture. It is only a static mesh. Okay, it is a 3D block. Okay, so it's interesting that you put SM before all of your objects. This way you can keep going, keep working in an organized way. Okay, further on, I'll leave you here the nomenclature of each type of asset in Unreal. As SM blocks, texture, you put a T underline and the name of the texture. Materials, you put M underline and the name of material. That way, the other artist will know what you're talking about. If there's a T in underline, oh, it's a texture. Okay? So, yeah, cool. So, SM ceiling. Yeah, great. Oh, there is an important thing. But don't worry, we're gonna do it now, and I'm going to explain to you. This, export. Yeah, let's create a folder. Let's call it like this. SM underline deco underline. Okay, great. Including Unreal doesn't understand space, so if you're going to type some name, use underline. Okay, because Unreal doesn't understand space. Put this underline in something, and that's okay. Cool. And it also fits in static mesh and materials and other things. Okay, always name underline instead of space. Okay, cool. Let's save it. Cool. Here, important. Go to preset geometry. It's going to export this, leave it marked. Okay, because if you have a very cracked mesh with little segment, it will give a smooth to the mesh. Okay, if the model has turbo smooth, it will export the turbo smooth from the mesh. Okay, we'll preserve the edge orientation. As we don't have an animation, you can leave it like this. Cameras as well, we won't export in, we use the Unreal camera. Okay, lights as well, we're going to use in Unreal there, don't worry about it here. Audio as well, we don't need to use here. Embed media, basically you have to mark this. Okay, because all the textures that you're using here in Max to be sent to Unreal. Okay, to be sent together with the FBX. Okay, if it's like this, you have a problem, so let's mark it. Okay, so that way the texture that you're using on the objects in 3ds Max will be stored in FBX. Okay, if you don't mark it, probably you're going to import files on Unreal without textures. Okay, so basically just check if this is smooth is like this, the other one, verify this. Okay, animation, cameras, lights, audio, embedded media, right here, it's important. Okay, mark it, and that's it. Cool. So deco is done. Let me see floor. Let's check floor. Select everything, file export. Right here, let's create a folder. Okay, static mesh SM underline floor underline. Okay, great. So we can minimize it, verify this, and okay. Next, the frames, let's select, export. Okay, folder, frames, SM, static mesh, underline, frame, underline. Okay. Okay, let's see. Next. Okay, the furnitures, export, select, furnitures, static mesh, underline, furniture, underline. Okay, great. Okay, it's marked. Okay, that's it. We are exporting. Yeah, cool. You also can export the whole project, but it's not really interesting because if the project is really heavy, a really huge project with a lot of elements, you can have some problems on Unreal, and it gets closed, so it's better if we do like this, segmented. It's more organized. Yeah. Okay. Let's go. We're almost done. The project we're not gonna do the walls. Yeah. Export. Create a folder here. Wall. That's going to be the structure. Okay. I'm gonna let it like wall. Yeah. SA underline wall underline. Great. Okay. There is more objects in here, that's why it takes more time. Okay, finished. Yeah, our project was already exported and it's ready to be imported in Unreal Engine. Okay, before you proceed, give it a recap, a review, make the download there of the first class, follow me with the classes, so that you can make sure that you learn it. Okay, this class, download the files. If you have some problems about exporting, importing, don't forget to make the download so that you will have the files, and everything's gonna be fine. Okay, so I'm gonna finish this class. We saw a lot of things, and I'm sure you will learn it. Okay, inside 3ds Max, you can adapt these concepts with other softwares, Blender, Mayas. It doesn't matter. Okay, you can adapt in your software. It's okay. Remember that in the first class we adjusted and the unit of measurement that was in centimeters. It's really important. Okay. In the second class, we organized and separate the files in layers. It's really important to work in an organized way so that we won't get lost. Okay, we're going to a real next class and there will be a lot of information. Okay, in the third class, we reduced the polygon count. Okay, we found balance, quality, optimization. We talked about Menage, LODs. In the fourth class, we prepared the materials to send to Unreal. We transformed it from Corona to standard, from V-Ray to standard. Okay, because Unreal only understands standard type materials. Actually, Unreal kind of understands other type of materials, but it's way harder to work with other materials. Okay, so it's better if we work with standard type material. It's going to be faster, less loads, and easier to adjust. Okay. In fifth class, we mapped the texture in 1 for 1 for 1, 100 centimeters for 100 centimeters for 100 centimeters. In the sixth class, we correct the pivot. We saw the importance of the object being the center of the world, because Unreal understands the pivot as the center of the world where the project came from, and we identified when to put the object in the center of the world and when to leave as it is. If I'm not going to move the object in Unreal, I can leave it as it is. But if I'm going to use in other projects, I have to adjust the pivot, okay? And so that I will control with more facility. And in this class, we learned how to export in FBX, okay? With this class, we finished this topic, 3ds Max here. If we need, we can get back here to correct something, but don't worry, we're going to do everything together, everything, okay? Since the beginning, okay? So hugs to you, and I can see you on next class, where probably we will download Unreal. Okay, see you.